All right, Drake Riggs here for MMAmania.com with Showtime. Anthony Pettis, man, just how are we doing in Texas? Getting ready for the 2020 season, man. How you doing?
I can't complain, man. Almost time to go.
Of course. And saw you doing some training with Donald Cerrone recently. I mean, just how was it catching up with old Cowboy?
Man, I'm in Vegas full time now, so I got a chance to work with Gaethje, Cowboy, Yair Rodriguez. I mean, there's a lot of UFC guys down there. I mean, just guys that I've been training with forever because Yair and Gaethje's from Chicago, close to my hometown, and Cowboy, former opponent. So, yeah, we're still cool.
Of course, man. Awesome. Love to see it. And in the meantime, since last season, you started promotion, right? So running things in the promoter chair now. Just what has that been like and what kind of inspired that decision, man?
That was a decision I had for a long time. I was just waiting for a home. When Fight Pass gave me the deal, it made sense for me to actually get it going. It's a lot harder than I expected, I'll tell you that. There's a lot that goes into it, from matchmaking to finding the venue to making it profitable. It's all hard. So my next fight's going to be done in August in Milwaukee, and then we got Vegas in October, and then we're going back to Milwaukee in November.
All right, very cool, man. And this isn't a sign of you planning towards retirement or anything?
No, not at all, man. I'm only 35 years old. I mean, last season showed me exactly I had to get my ass to work, and that motivated me to get to where I'm at right now. I feel so good, weight wise, training wise, skill wise, and being in Nevada. I mean, in Las Vegas, there's so many places to train. Like literally, there's a training session from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. with killers on the mat. So yeah, I'm in a great spot. But no, the motivation for the fight show was more of my management company. I have a lot of fighters that are under me that I want to get them into these bigger organizations, the PFLs, the Bellators, ONE FCs. I mean, so just a platform for them, my guys to go.
Yeah, just giving back a little
Definitely,
bit, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, I know you were interested in, the boxing, during the off season too, or whenever that was possible. Where kind of the hopes at with that? Still hoping to get around to it?
Yeah, I'm still training boxing. My coach Jorge Capetillo is definitely one of the best when it comes to boxing. He's Tyson Fury's trainer, so like I'm blessed to have him in Las Vegas in my backyard. I get to train with him on the daily. I still use my coach Duke Rufus, but I think boxing, I'm focused on this PFL season. I can't let too much stuff get in the way of this. So I think last year showed me how much I had to concentrate on what I was born to do, is this MMA fighting.
Yeah, man, and also in the offseason, we saw a great win for your brother, Sergio, knocking out Horiguchi, and I would say the comeback of the year last year, one of the knockouts of the year, I mean, insanity. So, I mean, just what was your reaction to that, man? I mean, crazy.
I couldn't be more proud of him. I told him that was a Showtime kick moment, because he was losing that fight, and then that spin back face, boom, knocked him out. That saved his, it took his stock like crazy. So I just wanted to go watch a fight in Vegas, and everybody was calling me Sergio Pettis. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I think because how skinny I am, but they're like, Sergio Pettis. I'm like, nah, I'm Anthony. They're like, oh, shit, you look young. But now to see his stock rise and to see to see where he's at in his life. Unfortunately, he had an ACL tear, so he's out for the rest of the year. But he's focusing on, and this is healthy for him, focusing on his life outside of fighting. Because a lot of fighters we attach to our identity as a fighter, and then when you have a bad performance and you get into depression, you get into these bad moments. So for him, I'm glad he gets that time as a champion to actually find out who he really is as a man outside of a fighter.
Yeah, definitely a rare kind of spot to be in for sure. But as for you, man, like, what was kind of the things that you learned the most from the first season? Obviously, it didn't go your way, unfortunately, but like I'm sure plenty of things you've taken away, and obviously very focused on this year.
Yeah, man, there's so much I took away from the first season. I mean, the first thing is my flaws on myself. I underestimated the talent, number one. I didn't take the training camp 100% serious as far as the whole season format, because I did it like a normal fight. I was like, 8 weeks is enough time, but then you fight and then you have another 8 weeks right away. So it was like the second fight, I really didn't get to train for it. It was like it was kind of whatever I did in the first camp is what I got out of the second camp, just because of the injuries and the bubble. So I think knowing the format now and filling that out, I started this camp way earlier. December I started this camp, so now I have a bulk of my training done where my weight's at the level. The weight cut, another thing. Like I wasn't used to doing a quick back-to-back weight cut. So there's a lot of things on my own that I took away, and then also my team. And training in COVID was really hard, honestly. Like I wasn't used to not having the training partners that I had, the team format. So I had to just be by myself. And I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I have to be alone. So I decided to go to Vegas. I bought my coaches into me. Duke's coming to Vegas to train. My Jorge Capetillo, I got my coach from Brazil for me. So I made this camp all about me, and I think it's gonna show in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those very interesting things, right? Where like maybe you can't fully prepare as well as you could until you've gone through it, you know, and you've experienced so much stuff, but like this is still a very unique thing you had to do last year and get ready for this one, right?
Yeah, I think like going into honestly coming from the UFC, you know, I'm like, I fought killers, like and I really fought killers, you know, in 145, 155, 170. I think I came with that mindset of like, what are these guys gonna bring? What could they bring? And then here comes Clay Collard, like, whoa, no lie, man. Yeah, that dude got some skills. So that's for me. That's what I want. The redemption of him and Haush. I think me and Haush had a very close fight. I thought I won that fight, but you know the judges are decision makers on that. And big up to him, man. I'm proud of that dude. Like for him to get $1 million and take care of his family. I know how it feels to be able to transition from half-time fighter to full-time fighter, and it's amazing transition. But for me now, it's about legacy and you know, redemption. I want those two fights. Obviously, I'm not overlooking Miles Price, but you know those are the fights that I'm looking for. And based on what they did in their first, you know, PFL I got to watch, them are the two killers of the division.
Definitely, man, right at the top there. And you mentioned Miles Price, who's the guy right in front of you first. So, I mean, what do you make of him? Kind of, you know, still coming up, making his name, looking to make his name off you, of course. But what have you made from what you've seen from him and just kind of the ways you guys match up? I
mean, I'm not even going to, like, try to, like, look at his fights and compare myself to his former opponents just because he's never fought no one like me. So I think I'm not going to go with that mindset of like, oh, he hasn't fought in 2 years. Like, he's a killer. That's what I'm thinking. He's a killer. He's in my way of $1 million and my world title for this year. So, you know, I'm taking him just like that. Technically, I think he's pretty well rounded. Honestly, you know, he has good striking, good jiu-jitsu. He's tough as they come. He's from Ireland, so you know he's tough. Right. And you know, I'm looking forward to going there and exchange with him.
And did you consider like a move to welterweight at all? Go back for this season, or was it never in there?
No, not even. Well, I think my ego was speaking before last season. Like, once I win lightweight, I'll go try welterweight. But I'll stay at my lightweight. Ray Cooper and Joe Zaffarino and the Mermaidov dudes, man, I'll stay at my lightweight division.
For sure, man. Some big guys there and hit very hard. But you know, just you mentioned the Haush potential and Clay Collard rematches there. Obviously, Clay just beat Jeremy, and I know this guy you've fought before as well. Is there any interest in that still? And I mean, especially after now that he just lost, but like, it was still a fun fight. He's putting up competitive performances, but are we past kind of?
I mean, I'm not really looking forward to that fight. I mean, I already won that fight. For me, it's like I want the fights that I lost. You know, I got Haush in front of me and Clay in front of me. That's more of a challenge for me than, you know, fighting a guy that I fought before over in the different organization. So I'm really looking forward to getting those two fights back to back. I'm actually gonna. That's what the fight I want next is one of those two guys. So hopefully I go out there and get my hand raised and get my points, and I get one of those guys next.
And I mean, they had a very close fight last season too. A lot of people think that Clay got robbed. I mean, did you agree with that?
I mean, it could have went either way, honestly. I think no one knew who Haush was at the time. It was just like a random fighter. Now he's the champion, so I think now it changes the perspective of fans, and then it's sad that it's like that. Even the judges, honestly, I've seen judges that are persuaded by popularity and what they've seen before. So, I mean, it was a close fight. I think all of us, besides my first fight against Clay, me and Haush had a close fight. Him and Clay had a close fight. And I think that's the top of the division right there. There's some other guys in there. You know, Mercier, great potential. I mean, beating Nathan Schultz. Martinez, I see him in Las Vegas. He trains actually at Syndicate MMA. So there's some good guys in the lightweight division. But for me, I want to focus on the guys that I lost to.
Right. Totally makes sense, man. I mean, you mentioned kind of just, I mean, these guys are already great killers and all the ones you fought in your career overall, man. I mean, I'm going to give you a tough one here, but like, is there someone who stands out as the toughest opponent you've ever fought, man?
Wonder Boy. Yeah, Wonder Boy was the toughest opponent. Just the training for him, just because he's, I hate to say this, but he's better than what I'm good at. You know, his striking style, his range, he's bigger than me, and it showed in the fight. You know, he's busting up my nose, but I had the perfect game plan, man. So, like, yeah, Wonder Boy was probably the toughest guy I had to get ready for. And he's so nice. It's so hard to to be mean. Yeah. So, but yeah, Wonder Boy was probably my toughest opponent, I think, and it was one of my biggest challenges. You know, I was coming from 55, and when I called him out at the time, he was number 3 in the world at 170 pounds. So yeah, it was a challenge.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. It's always a tricky puzzle. And I mean, another guy that you've fought in your career, Charles Oliveira, he's gone on to do some pretty good things. I mean, does that surprise you? What do you just make of the run that Charles has gone on now?
No, honestly, I was surprised that it took him this long, man. Because like when I fought him, I was like, yo, this guy. He at 45, he was a little fragile. That's when I was too. We were both fragile. But seeing him come into his own and like seeing him use his full skill set, because his overall striking and jiu-jitsu, he's well rounded, man. Like his jiu-jitsu nullifies the wrestling because he's very dangerous, and then his striking is good. Like when I fought him, I was like, yo, I was surprised on how technical his kickboxing was. So yeah, no, I think big ups to him too. And like I said, I'm not a hater, bro. I love the fact that he's where he's at, and I follow him on Instagram. I see what he's doing, man. I experienced that, so I wish everybody to experience that part of that life.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, just Prediction real quick, he's fighting this weekend too.
Yeah, I don't know on that one, honestly. If I had to, well, I am a betting man. My money goes on Oliveira, but Gaethje's just, he's a gangster, bro. He comes with them low kicks. It all depends what Oliveira shows up. If Oliveira, the UFC champ that's, living this popular life shows up, or if it's Oliveira, the hungry guy that wants to be that guy, we'll decide. That's going to be the deciding factor.
Yeah, going to be a very fun one for sure. But all right, Anthony, last thing I'll leave you with, man, another tough one, but I always love to ask fighters like yourself this one. I mean, if you never got into MMA, what do you think you would be right now?
Yeah, actually the reason why I got into MMA is because I owned a Taekwondo gym. Okay. And me and my brother were business partners, obviously, and we saw how big UFC was getting. It was like just starting to pop off, and everybody's talking about mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and if we were like, if we want to compete in the business world, like, we're going to have to teach our students MMA. And me being the younger brother, I was sent off to go learn MMA from Duke. So I'd be running a Taekwondo. So I still am running a Taekwondo school. So I'd be doing what I'm doing right now without the fighting part. And I also was a firefighter right out of high school. So I ran a Taekwondo gym and I was a firefighter.
So if no combat sports, probably firefighter would just be.
I mean, I didn't love it. It was more of like for my mom. My mom was like, my dad died when I was a kid, so she's like, I want to make sure my sons have a good life. And it was a college or a fire academy.
Okay.
I'm like,
so not quite Stipe.
Yeah, I wasn't in love with it. When I did my first 24-hour shift, I'm like, I don't know if that's my lifestyle. But the business side of Taekwondo, I think, is what I'm attracted to. Like the entrepreneurship, learning how to make it work, and I was driving a BMW in high school, from teaching Taekwondo. Right. So I was exposed to it at a young age.
Yeah, well, it's all worked out, man. Don't have to worry about not having MMA in your life, obviously. So best of luck this weekend, Anthony. Can't wait to see you. Great to have you back, man. Thanks so much.
Yes.